You've probably seen this happen. You ask an AI a pretty simple question, and it gives you an answer that is so confident, but also completely, totally wrong. It's kind of funny sometimes, right? Well, this whole thing is called a hallucination, and honestly, it's one of the biggest headaches in AI right now. But here's the thing. What if it's not some deep, mysterious bug? What if it's actually a problem we can solve? Okay, let's dig in.
So this is the big question, right? Why do these AIs just make stuff up? And look, it's not like they're trying to lie to us. They're not malicious. The real story is that they're basically pushed to guess. And the reason why? It's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. It's all about how we test them.
All right, so let's make sure we're all on the same page here. What even is a hallucination? Simply put, it's a statement that sounds totally believable, but it's just plain false. And that word, plausible, that's the key. The AI isn't just spitting out random nonsense. It's crafting answers that sound so real, which, makes them way more tricky to spot.
And just to show you how weird this can get, check out this real example from some OpenAI research. The researchers asked the chatbot for the birthday of one of the authors of the paper. Simple enough, right? Well, the AI confidently spit out 3 different dates. And guess what? Not a single one was right. That's the problem in a nutshell. It's so sure of itself, so specific, and just completely wrong.
So where does a problem like that even begin? You'd think it's some deep flaw in the code, but it's not. The real issue is in its report card. Seriously. The way we grade these models is actually teaching them to guess. Okay, think back to school. You're taking a multiple choice test, and you hit a question you just don't know. What do? I mean, if you leave it blank, you get 0 points, guaranteed. But if you just take a wild guess, hey, you've got a shot at getting it right, right? Well, AI models are basically stuck in that exact same situation.
Yeah, so from the AI's point of view, the choice is pretty obvious. Guessing gives it a chance to get some points. Saying, I don't know, gets it absolutely nothing. So, strategically, it learns that it's always better to just take a shot, even if it's a complete shot in the dark.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because we've got the data to back this up. So look at these 2 models. The one on the right, the O4 Mini, it's a total gambler. It almost never says, I don't know, only about 1% of the time. And sure, it gets a slightly better accuracy score, 24%, but just look at its error rate, a massive 75%. Now compare that to the other one, GPT-5 Thinking Mini. It's way more careful. It holds back more than half the time. Its accuracy is a tiny bit lower, yeah, but its error rate is way, way smaller.
So here's the bottom line, the really crucial takeaway. As long as the big industry leaderboards are all about chasing the highest accuracy score, they're basically giving a gold star to the models that guess all the time. This creates this whole system where developers are kind of forced to build AIs that are more likely to make stuff up, all just to squeeze out a slightly higher accuracy score. Okay, so that explains why these models are guessing. But where are they even getting these made-up answers from? Well, the answer to that is buried deep in how they learn in the first place. It's all about the echoes and patterns in their training data. So these models learn through something called pre-training. And really, it's a pretty simple idea. You just feed them a gigantic amount of text from the internet, like huge portions of it, and give them one job to do: predict the next word. And they do this over and over and over again billions of times. This is how they figure out grammar, how sentences work, and, basic facts about the world. And for common knowledge, this works incredibly well. Like if the model sees the phrase "the capital of France is," it's seen the word Paris come after that thousands, maybe millions of times in its training data. So it just goes, yep, the most likely next word is Paris. It's just simple, super effective pattern recognition.
But what happens when there's no clear pattern to follow? I mean, think about it. How would you teach an AI my dog's birthday just by having it read the internet? You can't, right? A pet's birthday is just a random fact. There's no hidden pattern in language that's going to help the AI predict that date.
And that really gets to the core of the issue. These models are fantastic at learning things that show up all the time in consistent ways. Spelling, grammar, the sky's blue, stuff like that. But when you ask it about something that's unpredictable, something that doesn't show up much, like a specific person's birthday, there's no statistical pattern for it to learn. So when it's forced to give an answer, it just kind of makes one up that sounds right. It fills in the blanks. It hallucinates.
Okay, so this whole thing sounds like a pretty huge problem, right? But the crazy part is, the fix is actually pretty simple. It's not some massive technological breakthrough we need. We just need to change the rules of the game. We need to start grading for honesty.
And here's the 2-step plan they've proposed. It's really straightforward. First, you make it so wrong answers get penalized way more than just not answering at all. And second, you actually give the model some points for saying, I don't know, when that's the right call. I mean, that completely flips the whole incentive on its head.
And this isn't some brand new crazy idea. A lot of us have already dealt with this. Remember those standardized tests that used negative marking, where you'd lose points for a wrong answer? They did that for the exact same reason, to stop people from just guessing randomly. It's time we started applying that same common sense to how we test our AI.
There's a quote from the researchers that just hits the nail on the head. It basically says, if the main scoreboards keep rewarding lucky guesses, the models are just going to keep on learning to guess. It doesn't matter what other fixes you try to put in place, the entire system for how we grade these things needs a reboot.
All right, so to wrap this all up, let's bust a couple of common myths about AI hallucinations using what we now know.
Okay, myth number 1. You hear this a lot, that hallucinations are just inevitable, that they're just a price we have to pay for having powerful AI. But what this research shows is that, no, they're not. They are absolutely not inevitable, because we can teach these models to just say, I don't know, when they're not sure. We just have to actually give them credit for doing it. All right, myth number 2. This is the idea that hallucinations are some kind of weird, spooky glitch, a ghost in the machine that we can't really explain. And again, that's just not the case. We actually have a really clear picture of why they happen. It all comes down to statistics. They are the predictable, logical outcome of a system that learns from patterns and then gets graded in a way that rewards guessing. It's not a mystery at all. And so that leaves us with one last really important question. As we keep building these incredible tools, we have to make a choice about what we actually value. Do we want an AI that always has an answer, even if that answer is sometimes completely made up? Or do we want an AI that's honest enough to admit when it doesn't know something? I think how we answer that is really going to define the future of this technology.